Good evening, and welcome to a Thursday night edition of the Buddy Martin Show, also known as the Orange and Blue Bloods night. This is the night when we have the family together of Orange and Blue Bloods, the high priest, the church, whatever. We can talk about these Gators any way we want to because it's family. And we're going to have them all here tonight. Lauren Meadows will join later, the coach. We've got Fran Spirit standing by in the wings. And right around the corner will be our friend Ben Troop. Pastor Ben may have a sermon tonight, may not, but we're on. And already we're talking about must games. It's just too early to be talking about must games, but you know what? What else is it? We see now what's ahead of the Gators. We see Billy's situation, what he is facing, and he can't afford to have any more missteps. And he's got a young quarterback who's got to see the field. It's going to be interesting how it plays out. We're all watching closely. We know you're watching closely as well. And so far, just 2 games, and it's been exhausting. Can we stand up to it? Well, yeah, we can, and we will. Stand by, and we'll tell you what's coming up next on the Buddy Martin Show right here on this channel. Tell your friends and neighbors.
Old Buddy Martin, call him up and tell him what you're thinking, but be kind because he's doing the best he can.
Better, stronger, faster.
Mama says that alligators are ornery because they got all them teeth but no toothbrush.
Hey, what if the voice calls while you're gone?
Take a message.
Bye.
You ready, champ?
I'm ready for this my whole life.
I'm incapable of small talk. But that's why you love me, right?
Kind of intimidating to be in the presence of so many great athletes.
Good evening and welcome to the program. It's going to be a busy night. I can tell already you're starting to line up because what else? We want to know what's happening in Gainesville. It's kind of hard to discern these days because we get so many mixed messages. It sounds like Billy is going to start his senior quarterback, Graham Mertz, and he can certainly make a case for that. But it also sounds like he's got to play his freshman. Now, he's being a little evasive about that. If you'll notice tonight, there is no depth chart. That's the new thing. No depth chart. That way he didn't have to say who's number one and who's number two. It's kind of a cheap game. I mean, really. You know, it tells me that when the pressure gets on, these kind of games, cat and mouse games, are what coaches do as an act of desperation. Now, it does give Billy some options he didn't have, and we saw it right there in front of us. And what a performance DJ Lagway put on. The question is now, where does he go? And what does he do? And what's his next move? It's like what our next move is going to be is the pastor himself, Ben Troop. I'm sure will be weighing in on this subject very, very soon. And like I said, it's Orange and Blue Blood night. It's family. We can talk about our family any way we want to, just don't you. And this is what we do on the program on the Buddy Martin Show. And here's Benny. What's up, Ben?
What's going on with you tonight, buddy?
Well, I'm thinking, why am I so exhausted? It's just game 3, you know?
Hey, it's been with the ever changing quarterback situation, the ebb and flows of college. I mean, that week 1 took a lot out of us. I think it's just like trying to get over that aspect of things, but. You know, obviously, unless you live under a rock and you saw the performance of DJ Lagway, which is gonna be the talk of this entire week. What, no depth charts? Now you got what is an availability chart? I don't even know. I don't like when people make stuff.
Here's what it is. Look, it's already changing as we speak. They put an availability chart on this afternoon. Now it's already different. Some players were not available, now are available. We don't need to be updated by the minute. They know pretty much what they're doing, but you can tell when coaches get a little desperate. They start playing these mind games with these things and try to confuse the enemy. They ain't gonna confuse the enemy. They know it's A or B, or whatever it may be. So anyway, that's what Billy appears to be doing. I wish him all the best. But by the same token, how did it get to be so crucial? We thought he had a little flexibility. Now I'm hearing people say things I don't know who to believe. I heard today a Feinbaum show today. The guy said that, well, Florida has the $26 million and they're ready to make the move. How does he know that? I mean, I know a few important people. You know a few. Have you heard that? I haven't heard that.
I have not heard that. I mean, obviously, when it comes to the world of podcasting now, instant news, as I like to call it, you're gonna have a lot of speculation because of week one.
Make it up. Just make it up.
Yeah, I mean, Paul Feinbaum, Josh Pate, he came out and said, the whole Lane Kiffin stuff. Here's the thing about the situation. When you talk about Billy Napier, the head coach of Florida, you're always going to be under a lot of scrutiny. You're always going to be under a lot of pressure. It's up to you to rise to the occasion, because nowadays, buddy, back when there wasn't no social media, I can only imagine the type of rumblings that was going on, even when Coach Spurrier was here, and Coach Zook and Coach Maya. But you know what they say? Hey, man, it's Florida. It's one of the most highly sought after jobs in sports, not just college. But if you are Billy Napier, you should be used to it by now. Like, the thing about him growing as a coach is being able to deal with the pressures and scrutiny that come with it. But don't listen to the noise. I mean, the greatest thing I ever heard when I was at Florida, one of the many great things I heard was Ron Zook used to talk about not listening to the noise, blocking out the distractions, because it's so – and mind you, it's way more availability or accessibility now than it was when I played. But if you are Billy Napier, man, keep your head down. It's like, there isn't a more attractive job, opportunity in sports. And it's hard to be bigger than Florida. There are jobs. Let me say this. I don't know if there are jobs better than Florida, but there are just as attractive jobs as Florida. But if you Billy Napier, here's the thing now you need to be worrying about. How you going to do these two quarterbacks? Because the fact of the matter is, buddy, we knew that DJ Lagway, we hope that he had a good game against Sanford. Mm-hmm. He had a remarkable game. And I think the thing about it, someone says, look, stop comparing Tim Tebow to Chris Lee. It's not the same thing for this reason. Tim Tebow could not throw the football like Chris Lee. He wasn't ready to throw the football like Chris Lee. They had a package in 3rd and 1, 4th, 3rd and short, 4th and 1. DJ Lagway, and I'm going to say this and I'm going to keep saying it, the offense was not different. The players were not different. The play calls were not different. What did they do? They executed. Not just DJ, whole team executed. Play with confidence. And when you can play with confidence and you can execute, man, you're a different team. Now, and Sanford, I get it. People keep talking about the competition, but buddy, we not too many years removed from USF bobbling an extra point, and we walked away with a win, a scary one. So just because, do I think Sanford's going to be Florida? No. But I think now with Billy Napier is sometimes you want to show, you want to show the future to the, to the fan base. But with a showing like that, people can only, because once again, like I said, I just think I saw Barber sit there and whisper to DJ Lagman, man, just throw it anyway. Just throw it. Mm. Because let me just say this. What Graham Merce is accused of, DJ Lagman has no problem with it. And I mean pushing the ball downfield. The thing about Graham is always he's afraid, he's not afraid, but he's more cautious to push the ball. DJ Lagway go, look, man, I got a cannon over here.
Fling it. Let it go.
Of course. Well, buddy, it's like I be telling you, if it's one-on-one, throw it. The worst thing only 3 things can happen.
Safe throw. It's a safe throw.
It could be a catch. It could be a drop. It could be a pick. But even if it's a pick, it's like a punt. And you throw the ball deep to let people know, one, we can throw the ball deep. Yeah. Number 2, you give it confidence. I wasn't a guy that made my living catching deep balls. I lived in between the hashes. That's what I did. But receivers used to always say, give us a chance with a deep ball, man. Like, that ain't Dion out there covering, right? So I just like the whole energy on Saturday. I think the team really fit. Well, number one, Cam Jackson, all those guys coming to the game was talking about, "Hi, man, young man, just go out there and do what you do. We got your back," and they did, like from the opening ding. But I just think that now Graham Mertz knows Texas A&M is a total different animal, by the way, total different animal. But I think Graham Mertz knows, man, you're gonna be the starter. Like for people saying it should be DJ, listen, people, you do not be the head. Listen, when you're the head coach of Florida, they pay you to make two decisions: the right one and the tough one. And usually they're the same. You got to make the tough decision, but you got to make the right one. DJ Lagway is good for our football team for two reasons. One, he's ready if needed, and he's a great teammate. He's not going to make controversy about Jim should be this. And that's the part I think that makes him wise beyond his years, buddy. But on top of that, people say he's talented. No, he's more than talented. My God. I mean, that's those throws that he was making are not easy. You know, everybody can. People go with Sanford. Everybody ain't making them throws, man.
No.
That one, it was for one night though, buddy. It was beautiful to watch. It was beautiful football.
Yeah, and I do a show every week. In fact, we do it twice. Shane Matthews and I do his show on Tuesday morning. He does mine on Monday night. And I've been hitting over the head by this phrase for the last year: throw the ball deep. Throw the ball deep. Shane thinks we need to throw the ball deep 20 more times a game. You know, whatever. And he's a big believer in that. And we haven't seen that. Now, we know that Mertz can throw the ball deep, but the patterns weren't designed and the receivers were not getting open. All of a sudden, something happened. Now, look, these things just don't fall out of the sky.
No.
Here's what happened. This young man was smart enough to know, let me get in there and ask these boys how they like the ball, where they want the ball. He knew where each receiver wanted the ball. He knew his players. They all responded. What happened? He gets in. All of a sudden, these young players step it up and start looking like the players we thought they were.
Yeah.
Why is that, man? Because they have confidence in him.
Yes.
They do it, you know?
Yeah.
And so he just raises the level of play. That's what I'm trying to tell people. It's not just making a change in the quarterback. Everybody else is playing different.
Yeah.
It's a game. Now, and they got the same plays. They got the same, it ain't the plays.
Yep.
You know, there's a guy executing them. And this young man so impressed me. I looked up some information last night. He talked about how he made the effort to get to know his teammates. They all trust him and believe him already. And he just made the field. Now, I don't make him sound like the second coming of Danny Werfel or whoever, but just the moment, there's something magical about a player that when he steps on the field, everybody's game goes up. Those kind of guys don't fall off the back of turnip trucks, man.
They don't. And buddy, there it is though. You said it though. Here, no. I'm gonna tell you. This is what I think happened. Badger and Wilson and these guys come up to him and say, "Hey, youngin, we got you today." Hey, they come either collectively or individually say, "Hey, youngin, And the reason why I know that is because when you are upperclassman, what an upperclassman is supposed to do for a freshman is to help him with his confidence. Hey, man, you don't got to go out there and overthink it, right? We got you. Give us a chance, and Badger, if you listen, man, next time just keep running angle. Don't try to cut back. That was a touchdown anyway. What I like, but it wasn't just the offense. Defense played well. It's almost we start saying, "Hey, man, how do you get confidence in football?" I said, "How do you get confidence? Yeah, playing well and winning games. But you got to play well first. Play well, win games. You build confidence. Because people kept saying, "Hey, man, the play calling is vanilla." Let me tell y'all something. Most play calling in college football is they're just executing. They ain't got these super duper long plays like you hear in the National Football League for no apparent reason. I don't know why the play so long in the NFL. They just want to be wordy because they can. You don't have time to go through a whole new playbook. And guess what? The play calls are going to be even more vanilla when you got a true freshman quarterback because he got a lot on his mind, a lot on his plate. So let's go out there and let's make the normal look abnormal. Let's make the common look uncommon. And that's what they did. And they did it. They kept doing it to the point where even Samford was like, dude, this ain't what we saw on tape. No, this is what Florida has the capability to do. And I'm just happy that it happened for DJ because he was thrust into a hard situation, week one against Miami. And no greater position for confidence than quarterback position. I mean, every other position, you got backups. Every other position, you can make mistakes. Quarterback, hey, man, I touch the ball every play. I got to take care of the football. And, buddy, like I said, I just think that you just said it. When the players rally around the quarterback, when people say, why is Kansas City so good? Because they got a quarterback. And listen, Patrick Mahomes don't play defense. Right? Tim Tebow didn't play defense. Chris Leak didn't play defense. Shane Matthews and Danny Warfel and Rex Grossman. But you know how much confidence those guys gave their teammates? Yeah. I can only imagine. So for me, and let me say this too. I know we giving DJ a lot of love. I think Graham Mertz gives them that type of confidence, right? I just think the difference is Graham Mertz has played a whole year and he needs to take that cautious stuff out and say, hey, man, just let it fly sometimes. Yeah. Because you get – And listen, when you give Wilson that ending around and he do what he did with it, that's the kind of stuff I mean when I say that's creative play calling. That's saying get the ball in the hands of your playmakers and watch them do what they do. And buddy, like I say, hopefully it's going to be a different game this week. It shouldn't be a different game plan. The game plan should be just be aggressive, get off the ball on third down, and on offense, keep pressure on that A&M Aggies defense.
Ben, what do you do though? You've got a guy that is a difference maker. Clearly, changes the whole chemistry of the team.
He does.
He had one of the greatest, probably the single greatest debut. Well, not probably of any freshman quarterback. Because how many freshmen ever made a debut? Shane Matthews already called the touchdown pass he threw to Mizell the greatest show he'd ever seen in a swamp.
When the off balance, not stepping into it, kind of jumping, it was beautiful. It was beautiful to watch. I mean, that is the question of the day, buddy. What do you do? I will say this. You have to put a package together for DJ Lagway, and you just got to let him go out there and have some drives. Meaning, Graham is going to start the game. Graham is going to get the bulk of the plays. But I think with a guy like DJ, you put together a nice package for him, and a nice package for him that doesn't involve him running the football. By the way, because I think you do a disservice with what he does with his arm. I think you get the guys to buy in when the guys around him. And I'm talking about the skill guys in the O-line, when they buy into the fact that, hey, man, this young is going to play, man, and he's going to play meaningful snaps. I think that's the way to go about it. And you just you do this. In front of the team, you say, hey, Graham is the guy. We're going to have a package for DJ. Behind the scenes, you tell Graham, you saw what we just saw, right? Yeah. You saw that. Yeah. Now, you the guy, Graham. You are the guy, but you saw that, right? Yeah. So I'm going to do what's right for this team. You know that, right? And he's going to say, yes, sir, which means I'm not saying I'm going to pull you, right? But I'm letting you know you saw what I saw. Same plays, same players, same scheme. So in knowing that, I'm going to need you to do what you've been doing, but I need you to push the ball down the field because he can't say this, buddy, but public perception runs everything. Not just college football. Public perception runs it. And, buddy, this ain't no public perception. What we saw, all of college football saw. They said, did you see that kid in Florida? They talking about this kid everywhere. So I would just say the greatest thing Florida has is two great quarterbacks that's both great teammates. I don't think Graham Mertz is going to not go out there and perform, but Graham Mertz knows that while the leash used to be long, it's a little shorter now, not because Buddy he can't play, but it's because, hey, man, could you imagine if Tim Tebow didn't have a package? Urban Meyer had a package for Tim Tebow because he knew what he had, right? Even though they told a different player. So I just think you find a way to make it work. And like I say, DJ gonna make it work because he's not gonna complain about the plays that he get, and Graham needs to make the plays count because he's gonna get more. And we let each game play out, buddy, because you know, like I know, buddy, you're not gonna have a 2-quarterback system the rest of the year. But for right now, I think you go with 2 until you just decide on one.
Yeah. All right. So other news around the world, we almost get lost on things like this. Remember that conference they had back in the day, which was called the Big 12?
Mm-hmm.
Well, now they're making another run at it.
Yeah, they tried. They're trying to.
Yeah. And I hope they do, but boy, oh boy, it's a little late in the game when you're down to like 3 teams. They took every team they could find that had the word state in it somewhere, put it all together and made it to a Big 12. With the TV money, this conference, by the way, was 108-year-old. The Pac-12, that's somebody should say. 108-year-old conference, Pac-12, splintered because of the TV deal, unacceptable.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured they were dead. Who'd they have left? Oregon State, Washington State. They've now poached 4 Mountain West schools: Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State, San Diego State, and anybody else in the state. Apparently, they're going to form this deal and make it for the. I guess it's good for college football, but how they're going to get in the playoffs, that's another story. But so many things like that have changed. My brain can't get around all the change that's going on, Ben. You're going to have to help me through this. Right now, I'm just trying to get this team on the field this weekend, come out of my case of COVID, which, by the way, today I did not test positive, thankfully. Thank you for that. We'll watch and see what happens on Saturday. I want to go back to the days of enjoying watching football, man.
Yeah.
Do you enjoy watching football?
I do, buddy, because I think over the years, I had to switch my perspective on college football because I used to be so headstrong on Florida. And I'm not saying it's not like that now. Mm-hmm. But I became a fan. I used to be a fan of college football first, college football players second, then Florida. Now it's college football players first, the game of college football second, and Florida third, which the 2 and 3 are very, very interchangeable. And the reason why I say that is it's so much great football being played on Saturday, right? I wear my glasses, and it's orange and blue skies, no matter what when it comes to me. But I've learned that I get a chance to just enjoy, and I mean this in the most humble way. I still think college football is still the purest form of football, regardless of NIL, regardless of transfer portal, because I'm on sidelines with Rob Brown, and it's something that Franz Beer said. He said, with everything that goes on in the offseason, when they kick the football off, college football is idiot-proof. It is dummy-proof. Because all that stuff goes away. All of it. And I get it. It's going to be a part of college football moving forward. But, buddy, there's a reason why college football owns Saturday and the NFL won't touch Saturday. The best football players play on Sunday. The best brand now of football is college. Because you got stuff going on everywhere. The kid up there in Nebraska, not only do he try to play like Pat Mahomes, he looks like him. Got the hair like him. I mean, everything. And what I enjoy the most, buddy, is the fact that it's these stories and these storylines. NIU, you know what I'm saying, beats Notre Dame. You know what I'm saying? NIU beats Notre Dame at Notre Dame. You got South Carolina just go beat the brakes off Kentucky. Not beat them. They beat the brakes off Kentucky. Yeah. Florida State ain't won a game yet when they was picked to beat. They're top 10. That's the part of college. I am not here. Listen, I am not here for the losses or the wins. I'm here for the chaos and the unpredictability. That's what I love the most about college. Because, like I say, Coach Hammock, the head coach of NIU, actually reached out to Coach. Actually reached out to the head coach of Notre Dame, man, Coach Freeman, and say, "Hey, man, I know we just beat y'all, but he said, but I still want to see you do well. So how can we? Now that we played, he said, let me tell you how we beat y'all. What? Let me tell you how we beat y'all and the things y'all need to work on moving. That's what I'm here for. I'm here for the for these players that get to become household names. These teams, coming into the Pac-12. Pac-12 will take anybody that'll say yeah. And then just have a state next to your name.
Have a state.
Montana. You could be Montana State. You could be New Mexico State.
Yep.
But
Cleveland State. Hey, by the way, the thing we talked about earlier about this new thing they're doing now in subterfuge, and Billy all admitted this, all gamesmanship. Now they're talking about, like you said, the availability chart, and they published it earlier today. There's 16 names on it, and by the afternoon, 5 of them were back on, and scheduled for duty. Now here comes Mike M saying, "I just read 16 players out or questionable for the game. Are these guys quitting on Napier?" I mean, that's the kind of crap you foster when you start putting out that crap. They got to stop doing stuff like that. The other thing I want to say, and we're going to take a quick break to hear from Melvin Law, is that I heard some people talking about Florida's brand today in Florida from unexpected places of people who are not Florida fans. And people talking about, obviously, about Lane Kiffin, he's the hot topic, and everybody says, "Oh, you'll take that job in a heartbeat," and so on, so on and so forth. And someone said, I forget who it was on Five Months, says, "Now look here, I consider Florida one of the real blue bloods of and this wasn't the Gator fan of the league, right there behind Alabama and behind Georgia and whatever. They're still a blue blood."
Yeah.
And people say, "Oh no, they're not. They're has whatever." But that's what you're dealing with now. This whole image of thing of that Florida's now they're back in the day when they don't count as much as they used to be.
What? What? Do people know what blue? Hold on. But buddy, you just said it. I don't think Florida will never have a brand problem. It's always a product problem. Because the product is what we see on Saturdays. That's the product. The brand, people need to, let me tell you something. This is why Florida's a blue blood. It's not because of what we say, because most people think their programs are a blue blood because of the traditions that they have within the program. Yeah. No, Florida has tradition in everything. In winning, in brand, visibility, right? And big name players that you can still talk about right now. Who's Mr. Two Bits on Saturday? Emmitt Smith. The greatest running back in Florida history, right? Or the best running back in Florida history. And the thing about it is, right, with Tim Tebow, and the list goes on and on. I think what people don't like about Florida is most teams that go through the ebbs and flows, like a Florida, they don't have the same brand equity. They don't have the same brand, John Gruden, when he was down there at the Fire Football Coaches Association down at USF, said Florida is a global brand. Florida is everywhere, both nationally and internationally. So to the people that's saying Florida ain't the brand it used to be, yes, it is. It might not be the product it's been before on the field, but that takes a season, a couple of seasons, a couple of games, if that. Because the thing about it is, when people say that Florida ain't the same brand it used to be, they crazy. They don't like the product you've been seeing, right? But if Florida ain't a blue blood, right, and outside of Alabama, outside of a Texas, outside of a Oklahoma, tell me who is. Because if Florida ain't a blue blood, it ain't many out there then. If Florida is not a blue blood, that's going to eliminate most teams in the SEC. Not name Alabama. We get Georgia and Alabama. We get them. Who else? LSU? South Carolina?
Well, let's put it on hold for a second. Franz Beard is standing by. We're going to go hear from our friend Jeffrey Meldon on Meldon Law. Come back. We'll have that little discussion going here tonight on the Orange and Blue Bloods. Franz Beard in the house. Here's Jeffrey. I didn't mess around. You did something terrific for the Florida band, man. Tell me about it.
Well, about 3 years ago, our dear friend Freddie Wiebe comes to us and said, the University of Florida won't buy the band a box truck to move their equipment around in. And when they go to Florida State, they go to Jacksonville or whatever, they don't have any, they have to rent trucks and stuff like that. So we collaborated and we put together a deal where we provided them a beautiful big box truck, and we wrapped it and with Meldon Law and the UF band. And by the way, the UF band was voted the best band in the country in August of 2023.
All right. Mel the ball. That won't back down. Thanks very much, Jeffrey. Here's Franz. And by the way, the latest information, Eugene Wilson was listed earlier as being questionable on the so-called availability report. Now apparently it looks like he might be available. I don't know. I can't read these things. Franz are changing all the language again on these things.
They need to just make it not an availability report, an injury report.
They don't want to do that.
Well, I know that. I know they don't, but it's time to grow up. It's, this is the real world, and these kids are adults now. So treat them like adults. Put it on as injuries, just like they do in the National Football League, just like they do in Major League Baseball, just like they do in basketball. You list who's injured, and if you're injured and you can't play, you say, okay, they're out. And
but you know what? It's not the kids they care about. It's the opposition they're trying to fool. Billy's getting in his old age a little bit more gamesmanship and whatever. But anyway, it's just one more confusing thing to deal with. Franz, good to talk to you tonight. We're having a discussion, hiccups about who's a blue blood, who's not. And a lot of people have been saying, well, Florida's not a blue blood. I heard a guy today. I believe it was the guy, should be legend on Feinbaum's show. It says, Florida's a blue blood. I think of that one after Alabama and Georgia. And I don't know, how far has this franchise fallen?
Well, the franchise has fallen, no question about it. There was a time when you said the word Florida, and that was from 2000 until 2010. You said the word Florida. The first thing you thought was contender, SEC and national. You got to remember, Steve Spurrier, the Gators finished never finished outside the top 12 during his entire time. They only did that twice. And the rest of the time, they were a top 10 team, most of that a top 5 team. So, and Urban had the Gators and won 9 games at least every year until the last one, when that last one, people don't realize that Urban only was there for practice on Monday and then came back for Thursday for the walkthrough. The rest of the time he was getting treatment because he was sick. Steve Adazio was the football coach that way. And by the way, Steve Adazio was doing ESPN
the color analyst
the other night, looking good. Yeah. Saw him the other day, looking good. The guy can still coach the offensive line, and somebody somewhere needs to hire this guy. And when they do, he'll teach a little bit of toughness to these guys, because by golly, he is one tough son of a gun, and a good recruiter too. So, but anyway, Florida has dipped. It's been since 2010 the last time anybody really, they expected the Gators to do something. They didn't expect Mullen to do something his first year. He was picked. The Gators were picked 8th, I think, his second year, and the third year was the COVID year. And since then, Florida's been down, and down. So the program has dipped, no question about it. Is it so far dipped that it can't be rescued? And my answer to that would be no, and hell no. The Gators, the program can be rescued. The question is this: do they have the right guy? I believe that Billy Napier is being given a lot of rope to get the program back on track. And, a lot of people think that Dan Mullen is the one that threw it off the rails. No, he didn't. That program was going off the rails from the time we made 2 very bad hires, namely Will Muschamp, who could have been a really good coach, I believe, had he taken a couple years to coach at a Texas State or or a Bowling Green or someplace like that. Get your feet wet. Learn how to be a head coach. Learn how to deal with the alumni, the mamas and the papas and all the other stuff you got to do, and the third uncle and the agents. And we're fooling anybody to think that agents is something brand new. They were called runners in those days. They weren't runners, they were agents or assistants to agents, and they've been around forever. It's funny today. I was talking to I had my stitches taken out of my hand. See, no.
Hey, look, he's on the mend. He's on the mend.
And my doctor is a Notre Dame grad, and he said, "Well, of course, back when I was at Notre Dame, players didn't get paid." And I looked at him. I said, "Really?" He said, "Well, they said they weren't." And I went, "Really?" He said, "Okay, they were." And I went, "Yes." Everybody, this is not a new concept that players are getting paid. They've been paid
It's just
forever.
legal now. It's obviously legal right now. Let's get back to the field and what we saw on Saturday and what we think we'll see this weekend. And there's a temptation to go off the deep end either side. Some would say at all costs, put Lagway in as the starter, let him take the team and go. Some will say, well, no, it's really Mertz's team, and just make a package for Lagway and bring him in, and who knows. I know this, what I saw with these eyes, and what I believed to be the case before I saw this, was convinced me that the future, however quick that might be, God bless Graham Mertz, what he's done. This kid is a generational talent who immediately changed things the minute he stepped on the field in much the way that Tim Tebow did. So I'm going to put it to you guys right now. Is this the time? Because let me just go back to one thing. There was a guy who was a pretty good quarterback that played at the Florida, who couldn't get on the field. Remember him? Until there was an injury. He got on the field and they couldn't get him off. Franz, remember that story? And we saw the injury right before our very eyes. Coaches sometimes have to be made to make a choice. It was a gift for Billy in a way that we got to see Lagway on the field. And I think this could be a good thing. Your thoughts, Ben, and then Franz. You got a gift. How do you use it? How do you don't overplay it, don't underplay it? First you, Ben, then Franz.
I mean, I go back to what I said earlier. I mean, Graham Mertz has to start for a lot of reasons, but my top two reasons is this: you don't lose your spot because you got knocked out. You got knocked out, but you don't usually lose your starting spot because you got injured. And we knew what DJ Lagway had the capability of doing. But here's the thing. I'm gonna keep on saying this. I love what DJ Lagway did, and I look at who he did it against. I am not taking nothing away from his performance, but who you do it against has more to do with it that you did it at all. So the thing about it is, I got future players coming in here because you always got to think about who can see you. Now, playing a true freshman and him doing what he's doing is great for the program, great for DJ Lagway, right? But the only way Graham Mertz shouldn't play is if one, he's hurt, or two, he's playing bad. That's the only way he shouldn't play. Because the thing about it is, as good as DJ Lagway looked on Saturday, it's one game. And that's not SEC defenses. That ain't Miami defense. I think you put Graham in and you just let him. But Graham knows this, though. The rhythm that hasn't been there, you better find a rhythm. I don't know if he got to work on his dance moves or what. He better find it. Because as you know, Buddy and friends, that's the same players with the same calls, with the same. They ain't calling nothing different. They can't. They just got into that rhythm. So for me, Graham starts. And when people keep saying the whole Tim Tebow thing, Tim Tebow was not a thrower when he came here at Florida at first. He had Chris Leak. He could run it. He was a bull in a china shop. Now he could run. He was big. But by the time he became a thrower, when it was his time to start, like every game. So I don't think you comparing apples to apples. DJ Lagway can throw with the best of them. Shane Matthews, Danny Warfel, anyway, they ain't gonna lie for these quarterbacks now. When they say what they see, they just telling you they being as trying to be as unbiased as they can. The kid looked phenomenal on Saturday. I ain't taking nothing away from him, but I think to keep him maturing as a player, you have some plays for him. And for me, now if I know going into a game I'm only gonna get so many snaps, I don't got to be Superman. I just got to be me. So let Graham start. He gonna get the bulk load of the plays and let watch the crowd go crazy when DJ comes in and hopefully he can be a wrinkle for that Aggies defense.
Yeah. How long, France, does he play?
Oh, I think they're probably going to end up with probably at least for a few games a 50-50. And then it may start going a little less than that. Here's the thing that I think Ben just hit on something, and that is the fact you start Mertz, and all of a sudden, let's say he runs a couple series, all of a sudden that third series comes in there. The electricity goes through the stadium. Boom, it's there. And it's kind of like sometimes in college basketball, you got a sixth man and he comes off that floor, comes on the floor. As soon as he hits the floor, the entire energy of the team changes. Dean Smith had something back in the days of 15 scholarships called the Blue Team. And the Blue Team was 5 guys, 3 of them typically guys who had gotten a scholarship initially, and 2 of them who had earned scholarships. They would come in and they would play maybe 2 or 3 minutes each half. But their job was to come in and disrupt. And they were so good at it that there was this surge of electricity in the building. And they'd come in and the score, the deficit might be the same or the lead might be the same when they left 2 minutes later. But the energy in the building had picked up to such an extent that when those starters went back in, everything went crazy. And I think that you use this thing to your advantage. You let DJ bring the electricity to it. And at some point in time, when you know that he's comfortable reading an SEC defense, because he's going to, trust me, when he is out there Saturday, Mike Elko is going to throw the kitchen sink at him, to borrow a too often used phrase. But he's going to see things that he ain't never seen before. And trust me, how's he going to handle it? We don't know. He may handle it like an absolute pro. He may just think, are you kidding me? And just go on and just burn them. And then again, he may be dazed and confused. This was always the case with Tebow. I know for a fact, Dan Mullen told me this personally. Tebow knew the offense through and through. What he didn't know was seeing what was coming at him and knowing how to adjust to it. And maybe by November, they could have started Tebow in a game, and maybe, just maybe, they would not have lost any momentum or whatever like that. But they had a good thing going with Leak. They had a good thing. Tebow coming off that bench, getting into the game, the crowd goes crazy. Good things happened. So you can use it to your advantage. But, buddy, I got to tell you something. Billy Napier better be, he better be ready for the circus, because he's going to have to learn how to be a juggler.
All right, France Beard. And by the way, before we go forward, let me remind you folks, one of our fine sponsors, we have many families on this show. We appreciate them, love them all. TitanMRI.com is a special organization, someone who can make your life much easier. If you happen to have a need for a Titan, for an MRI, I strongly encourage you, go to TitanMRI.com and find out the details, because they can custom make you an appointment during the week to avoid having to miss work hours. They also have an ability to give you a pretty good deal on if you don't have insurance, your cash and card can handle it. They also want to make your experience at Titan a good one, so you don't get claustrophobic when you go get those MRIs. So check them out. They're doing this a long time, doing it well. Everybody knows about TitanMRI.com. Welcome to the show, Coach Lauren Meadows. Coach, I know you have a lot to talk about. A lot of folks want to see change. Sometimes these coaches can be stuck. Sometimes it takes an injury to make them make a change. They got to change, at least what we think we saw was a change. Now, where do they go and how much time do they allot to each quarterback? You cannot ignore the elephant in the room, and that is DJ Lagway.
No, like we said earlier this week, I mean, Billy's in a no-win situation. I mean, it literally is a situation where, I mean, I agree. I saw somebody down there, and I said that, and I hate to say it out loud, but when they announced the starting lineups and Graham Mertz, who I think is going to run out there first, I mean, I think there could be some boos, and that's sad because the young man pretty much has done nothing wrong since he's been here at the University of Florida. And so you're talking about, I mean, like, you walk your quarterbacks in, and let's say they made a change, and you say, well, okay, we're going to go with the young guy. I mean, my first answer would be like, Coach, what did I do wrong? I didn't give up 500 yards to Miami on defense. What have I done wrong? I mean, and literally the man put his life on the line, or he would have probably took Florida to a win against Florida State and got them bowl eligible last year. I mean, in spite of their deficiencies, one of the bright spots was Graham Mertz and Ricky Pearsall. I mean, everybody talks about how great Ricky Pearsall was. Well, remember who threw him the ball and in some big moments and some key games. And, anytime that Graham Mertz, in my opinion, looked deficient in ways, it was when I think the play call and whatever they were trying to do offensively didn't help him. But, somebody said to me today, quarterback is not, it's the elephant in the room, but those that know football and have watched this team, it is by far one of their biggest issues. And unfortunately, DJ Lagway's presence and play has always made it an issue. But, unlike other schools like, Florida State, for instance, I mean, the Gators don't have a quarterback problem. So I heard Ben earlier, you find a way to get Lagway in there, a la Leak and Tebow, even though I think when Tebow would come in, it was a much, much different skill set. In this case, I mean, I just think that it's a tough position, man. It's going to be, but by no means would I bench Graham Mertz. I would definitely let him start this football game, see how it goes.
Yeah.
And then if you got a good thing going, which I think is what they plan to do against Miami, then you let Lagway come on and get after it a little bit.
All right. So here's the thing I want to say, though. Let's don't lie about it. There's a different skill set.
Of course.
I mean,
buddy,
and you know it, and I see it, you see it, and
Brett,
the moment he hit the field, you saw it.
Yeah, but here's the thing, though, right? We keep on talking about the Chris Leak, Tim Tebow. Chris Leak got the most passing yards in Florida history. He got more than Shane. He got more than Danny Warfel. Sometimes, and I know we don't see it this way, we don't know how comfortable Graham Mertz makes DJ Lagway when he go out there. When he went out there saying, look, man, DJ said, man, I ain't trying to take your spot. Graham said, look, man, go out there and do you. It's a job of a coordinator or the job of a head coach to not recruit the same type of players. I wasn't the same type of tight end, the guys that was in front of me, Kirk Wells and Aaron Walker. You need different guys. But the reason why Tim Tebow had a solid career was because he didn't have to start as a true freshman. He is not the same player if he got to start right away. Having Chris out there showed him, okay, when I get in there, and it's not the same player. DJ Lagway was the best player in the country in high school. Not just, and he got a skill set, man. I'm happy we got him. And I think the thing is, I think Lauren make a great point. Billy Neighbors just gonna have to live with the decision that he make and go with it. He cannot win because if DJ Lagway goes out there, people gonna clap, but that ain't Samford he going out there with. That's Texas A&M. That's a different world. And if you are Coach Elko, you say, please give me the freshman. I want DJ because he gonna. I think how you work these things is simple. You got two really, really good quarterbacks. One is super duper experienced. The other one is super duper talented. I need the guy with experience to show the youngin', hey man, this is how you handle this situation. And I think both of them really, really good teammates. I mean, and real quick, I'm seeing all these comments over here saying stuff like John Gruden being hell no. John Gruden, no. John Gruden is offensive coordinator. No, John Gruden coaching in college football, it will be like Cam Newton playing in the NFL. It's not gonna happen. It's over with and it's done. And somebody said Ben who was a person that I didn't want to get hit by. I didn't want to get hit by nobody in the SEC. None of them. I ain't want to get, but that's the game. But I will say, when it comes to this situation, right? When it comes to the situation, because you got an experienced guy like Graham Mertz, who to me, and I can speak for Graham, no matter what decision they decide, I guarantee you Graham Mertz ain't gonna be no distraction. He gonna run out there first. But even if he didn't, because if DJ run out there first, Graham Mertz still gonna play. Both guys gonna play. I just think you let Graham go out there, feel the game out, and let DJ be his eyes when he comes to the sideline. You put some plays in, because unfortunately for us, well, not us, Orange BlueBloods, the fan base seems to think that every time DJ get in there, he gonna look electric, and he's not gonna look like that every time, but he got the ability. And the one thing we were talking about, Lauren, before you came on, the one thing DJ will do, because he don't know how to do nothing else, he gonna let it fly. He gonna, and to me, that's what Florida fan base said. Look, man, I told you, deep balls, make the safeties back up, and if it's one-on-one, that's about as good as ours as a receiver can get. Listen, if Graham Mertz throw a bomb on Saturday, that would be the influence of DJ saying, "Hey, man, you better let it fly, man, because you got receivers that can go out there and get that thing."
I'll tell you something that needs to happen too Saturday, and that is Graham Mertz comes off the field and says, "Hey, this guy that's over our right guard, he's going to have his way with this guy, So if you got to check into a play, you got to have to chip this guy, or the defensive end right here. He's really got a good swim move. He'll come inside, so you're going to have to get out." That's what Graham Mertz can and will do. And it's just like, that's what Chris Leak could and did with Tim Tebow. Chris Leak came off the field. People don't give Chris credit for being a great teammate, and he was. Do I think that Chris wishes he could have run like Tebow? He had a run for about 40 yards against Alabama that I think he even shocked himself that he could run. That first off, they could run that far without running out of breath. And secondly, I think, I think Chris Leak would have loved to have channeled his inner Tebow and run the ball. Just like I think Tebow would have loved to have channeled his inner Chris Leak and thrown something that didn't look like a wounded duck. Nobody ever threw a prettier spiral than Chris Leak.
Indeed.
I can count on one hand the number of times he threw a pass that wobbled.
I pretty much like Kyle Traskball too. I know what you're saying. He did. Let's talk about the game on Saturday. A game that physically Florida is outmanned. Can they get the running game going? And can the offensive line block A&M? Will they have to rely on throwing the ball around? A&M's only a 3-point favorite. Now, here's the thing. A&M has lost 10 consecutive road games. 10. So they're beatable. Physically, it's not a good matchup. Lauren, how do you see it playing out? What do you say Florida's biggest strength is, and how do you think it will turn out? I will get the same comment from Ben and from France.
Well, I think Florida's biggest strength is the fact that Texas A&M has been fairly pedestrian on offense as well, and I think if they can put it together and actually push Connor Wegman into some mistakes, I think that's their advantage. I think they actually have an advantage up front where, Texas A&M is decent on the offensive line, but they're not great. And then at the running back position, they don't have anybody that necessarily would scare you. They got guys that are serviceable, but they don't scare you. So I think that's where they can kind of make it a game. But I'm gonna say, like I said, against Miami, if they don't get any turnovers, and quote unquote win the turnover battle, they're not going to win this football game. The defense has to create turnovers. So I would say the advantage is actually in the front seven, where they could take advantage of a so-so offensive line and average backs, and then they got to get some turnovers. I mean, that's where it's going to be, because to say that they won't move the football, I've been shocked before by the Florida offense. So I'm not going to necessarily say that, but defensively, this team has to show up against Power Five opponents, and here's one that's just decent on offense. Once again, a quarterback that can kind of come out the back door, and he's got a little wiggle, runs, with some ferocity when he's out in the open, but. That in my opinion, that's what's got to happen, no matter who, what happens on offense.
Ben?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we obviously know that when it comes to Texas A&M, I think our biggest advantage is going to be the fact that you got to play solid defense to above average defense. Because the thing about our defense now is, yes, we was talking a lot. I don't like to look at Sanford as a barometer, but man, you got to play with confidence. A confident defense, right? It's great for an offense that's going to be dealing with two quarterbacks. I think this weekend, if our defense can find a way to force them in the third and longs, get off the field, get the ball back to the offense, and create some, you got to create some explosive plays on defense. I mean, these almost had a pick, almost had a sack. Be for sure tacklers. Make them beat you. I think our defense gives us a good shot, because I know everybody's talking about how well our defense played last week. They just played inspired football. I mean, I know the competition is not there, but I think for our front seven to be able to get at guys, you got guys you can move, change in and out. I think we got a good shot, because like I said, Texas A&M, they ain't a bad team, but they ain't a great team either. And like I say, that Notre Dame loss ain't looking as impressive as it was because of what happened last weekend. But yeah, I think if our defense can play above average to complementary, I think we got a good shot, because that means that our offense is out there, with more plays.
France, we have some new faces over there on that defense. What did you see that you liked last week, even though it was Sanford?
Oh, what I saw was people tackling. And that's the biggest thing. They didn't tackle against Miami. And if you go back to the 15 losses they've had since Billy Napier has been the head coach here, I'd say at least 12 of them were the result of poor tackling. And in the second game, they tackled people, and that was important. Now, let me say this too. We don't know really about either team. We know more about Florida playing at home with a home crowd than we do about Texas A&M on the road. And here's the other thing we don't know about Texas A&M. Notre Dame is not any good. Trust me, they are not any good. They let a team from the mighty Mac pound them, not just score an upset. They pounded them. They dominated both lines of scrimmage. Notre Dame couldn't run the ball on them, and Notre Dame couldn't stop them from running the ball on them. They controlled the ball. Time of possession was all in the favor of Northern Ill. And if Northern Ill had played a little bit less conservative, they'd have won that game by 2 touchdowns. Notre Dame is not that good. So who did Texas A&M lose to? They lost to a team that is overhyped in game 1. Now the question comes back to Florida. Was Miami that good, or was Florida being overhyped? And that we don't know. Right now, from what I've seen and people I've talked to, seem to think Miami is that good. I don't think Miami loses a game in the regular season. I looked at that schedule, and the only game they got a chance to lose is at Louisville. The rest of the games they're going to win. So 12-0, Cam Ward could win the national championship if they go 12-0. Cam Ward could win the Heisman. So we don't know that. This is a game that I think is going to be a proving ground for both teams. Whoever loses this game might be in for some rough sailing. Whoever wins this game is going to have a big confidence boost. And if Florida wins and all of a sudden they're 2-1, then you go to Mississippi State, a game they should win. Then you get UCF, a game they should win.
That was a long way away, didn't it? All right.
But you could be 4-1 going up to Tennessee.
France must win or not?
Oh, I think it's a must-win game for both teams, but I like
All right.
Florida to win.
All right, Lauren, must win or not?
Must win. He got to get him up off of him because the quarterback will be secondary to a 1-2 record with 2 losses at home. Got to win. Got to get it done.
Ben, final word. Must win.
Without a doubt. I think Lauren just said it. I think it's great distractions when you got a true freshman quarterback who looked out of this world last Saturday. But it's an update your resume every Saturday type league. You better find a way to get this dub because DJ. I know people saying, DJ Lagway going to say no. DJ can't save you. You got to go out there and get a win. And before I get out of here, for people saying that Florida ain't a blue blood and Florida brand got a problem, well, why would Lane Kiffin want to come here if we got a brand problem? Stop playing with me. Florida got a product. Product on the field is a problem. The brand itself is not. The reason why people don't want to come to Florida is the same why people do. They know that seat. We don't got a hot seat in Florida, man. It's a freaking oven down there. It's a different type world. But if our brand is lacking, why everybody say? Listen, and I'm not starting Lane, rumors either. But I'm saying, why would Lane even be a consideration? Because like we said last week, Franz, Buddy, and Lauren. Scott Strickland, though, I can get Lane if I want him. The question is, do he want him? Because if he do, he'll walk to Gainesville. He will walk. I guarantee you that.
Gentlemen, great job, my Orange BlueBlood brothers. As always, I appreciate you. Have a good weekend. Enjoy the game. Back at you next week, guys.
Yes,
all right.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Go up, Bud Light. We need you.
All right, man. You too. Glad you're better, friends. Thank you, friends. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Ben. And we'll wrap up the night by saying thank you to our sponsors. You know about Meldon Law, of course. And then we want to tell you about our first special friends at WinStar Medical Research. They're a special group of people who do wonderful things in the community and for our health. They're stakeholders in downtown Ocala, very supportive of all things Gator in the community, and very, very good friends of mine. And Joe Sorrentino and Mary Brantley, who are high school friends, started the business. So what you need to know about it is they are looking out after our health in this manner. They would like to be able to have you participate in these clinical trials if possible, because they help them determine the needs of what we have to have in our community by testing and giving some people the placebo and some the real deal. And they get the data from it and they send it off to these companies and they get new prescriptions, and you might be eligible for time and travel. Check it out. Go to redstar.net and find out how you can be a part of these clinical trials because they're so important. RedStar Medical Research is seeking tomorrow's answers to the health questions of today. Have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the games. Back at you soon. Thanks.